Hello, everyone. I'm Dan Dornfeld. I'm the lead pastor right here at Good Shepherd. And a couple notes as the handout comes out. First of all, I'm going to time myself because, much like other pastors, I'm a little long-winded sometimes, so I'm just going to keep that going. I want to say a couple things, though. I'm going to give you lots of nuts and bolts, and I'm going to try to breeze through them as quickly as I can. I'm so thankful, Adam, you gave us such a great framework for it, and I've come to a lot of conferences and things, and I hear the framework, but never get to take the things to go back and maybe contextualize for my own. So I'm hoping these will be helpful. At the end of this, I will post, just like Cassie did, onto the event itself, some of the samples of the things that I'll be mentioning here, so you can use them in digital format. You can change them and do what you will. Or you can email me, which is also on there. But a couple things to note. As I'm saying different things, we have tried things because our whole goal is, as I said in the paragraph about what I'll be presenting here, it's to remove every obstacle. What are the obstacles to people in their stewardship? I think people actually want to give. I think people want to be a part of what God is doing in our different contexts. So the first thing is, that's my whole mindset here, and that's what we talk about, not just in stewardship, but also as being the church outside of Good Shepherd and actually reaching out to others. We're constantly asking that question. What's the obstacle to this, to our mission here? Secondly, this is for our context. So as I'm giving you things, I know this is going to be one of the statements you're going to say, and I dare you not to say it. That won't work with us because, and then you'll fill in the blank. I mean, I know there's all kinds of reasons things don't work. I'm trying to give you ideas and maybe help spur some imagination for you and the Holy Spirit to work through in your context. But some of the things that we do might not work at all for wherever you're at. But hopefully it does help you think about things in a different way. And lastly, the biggest thing I would say is be authentic. I mean, I know so many pastors that we ourselves financially are strapped. You know, not only not making compensation guidelines or have huge amounts of education loan debt and everything else under the sun, health problems and all those bills mounting. But if we're asking people to give, I just want you to reflect and pray about where you're at with your own giving. My wife and I mean, we had to work up to giving to our tithe and then above that. That is such a challenge. I mean, we had to take that leap of faith, and we continue to. But, I mean, the best thing, and we've said it many times, it's helped our relationship with each other and our relationship with God, that we can look back, and especially in the times we had to trust God and say, we're giving first, God, that's changed everything. But then as I'm preaching and teaching and trying these other things, I can say, well, we're doing it too, because God's most important to us. He's given us so much. So be authentic, and maybe take a leap of faith yourself. So now let me dive into this. I am saying let's increase the giving options for people. The first thing that I want to, in these 3 bullet points, are add a giving kiosk, add bulletin envelopes with credit card giving as an option, and have digital giving on your website. You know why? They say like close to 90% of congregations across all denominations are actually behind in their missional giving for the way they do ministry. They're behind that. I'm guessing that does not relate to any of you. Absolutely not. Just the rest of the denominations, right? Okay, maybe it does relate to us, 90%. But out of the close to 10% that are actually making or actually going above, can you believe that? Going above their budget in missional giving. Do you know what the number one factor is? What's the number one factor? They probably did a great stewardship drive, right? Electronic giving, digital giving. So if you're saying, well, we don't want to worry about them with their credit card debt. You got to take that out of the equation. How many of you carry a checkbook? I don't. My wife doesn't trust me with it. There's no reason she would. But we have all of our bills coming out. The most important ones are coming out directly out through our bill pay at our bank. And we have Simply Giving. It's coming directly out because that's the easiest way. People aren't carrying checkbooks. They're not carrying a lot of cash anymore. So I want to say the number one factor is digital giving. So if you do not have that as an option, I need you to run screaming out of here and go get digital options on your website. And if it's not first and forefront in your website itself, you got to change that too. But one of those things, it's right outside our sanctuary. You see it in here, it's at a giving kiosk. Now, we're with Vanco, so actually all it cost us was the iPad itself, getting a security stand through Amazon, and getting from Vanco a nice little card reader, as you can see on the top left of that nice little thing to swipe the card. That costs, I think, $45. And the only other cost for us, because we're already on Vanco, is if they do use their credit card, then it's a couple percent, it's like 2.5% or something. That's it. That paid for itself within a week here. And I was actually skeptical. My brother's a pastor in Green Bay, and that's the Holy Land, by the way, in case you wondered. And he told me, he's like, Dan, you got to get a giving kiosk. I'm like, whatever. He's like, no, seriously, people use it all the time. I'm like, really? They really do. So I'd say the giving kiosk itself, and if you're not on Vanco, there's so many other options, but you can do it through them and PushPay and all the other ones, but add a giving kiosk. Also, you want to help people try to understand and say it's really simple and short. So try to introduce it somehow if you haven't had this. We actually made a video, and we just used an iPhone and really simple editing software to do this. But I wanted people to see that this is short and sweet and easy, so I just want you to watch this. Introduce it somehow to people.
Guys, it's John Dahl and TJ Ash from Good Shepherd, and we're here today to introduce to you guys a brand new, very easy giving method that we now have at Good Shepherd. Out in the gathering space, you'll find a brand new iPad kiosk, a giving kiosk, and with that, it'll be really easy to make donations to new fundraisers that we're doing, or just your everyday donations while you're here at church visiting us. So TJ, could you demonstrate the...
I'm done.
What?
Just to see it's easy. Some way to introduce it, whatever that is. You could do it in person. I've seen that where people actually do it right there and show people how simple it is. But consider having that's not actually an obstacle. This is actually another way for people to give to God. So consider that and put it everywhere, in your bulletins, in your publications, online. Do it everywhere to let them know that that is an option. And thank them for that as well when you're getting to the offering. Also, in every bulletin that comes at Good Shepherd, we have pens in the pews. We actually introduce this every day that we have in the bulletin an offering envelope. Now, you may think this is silly. People get it mailed to them if that's what you do, or they get it in the box and they have their offering envelopes. But you also have guests and people who forget their envelopes. We do kind of a bigger one with a flap. Why? If you have a smaller one, what do you put in small envelopes? Small things. What do you do with a big envelope? It seems silly, I know. You put big things. Use it with what you will. But on this, we also have credit card giving as an option. That's through Vanco too. And they can even write that and make it a consistent way. It seals. They can even mail it in. It's just a simple thing, but it's actually in their envelope. Now, since we've introduced these, our loose offering is actually quadrupled. 4 times the amount of extra offering that was coming that's not attached to anyone. That is crazy and amazing. Now, in the grand scheme of things, it isn't as much as some of the other things we're doing, but it's still such an amount, and it helps people in their giving. Lastly, have digital giving on your website, as I said. Next, create the impetus for people to give. Some of these things I'm going to mention are through coaching networks and resources. This one is through the Rocket Company, and that resource is on the back page. So it's Giving Rocket, and then they have separate resources. This is actually called Christmas offering or Easter offering. What they're saying is actually do an extra offering. and build up to it. Let your people know like 2 months in advance. Send an email if you have an email group. Send letters individually saying, we want you to consider in your faith to join us to give together. And we're going to do this on this certain day, either it's on Christmas or Easter, and you say the why. You don't say, as Adam said, you don't say because we're behind on budget. No, you help them know these are some of the things that we've been doing and we hope to do. And some of the things that we said, like we're calling another pastor. So that was one of the things that we said, we're calling a pastor, and if you do this, part of that's going to go towards helping us do more ministry. We're trying to reach outside ourselves in Moorhead. That's one way, and half of it for this last one on Easter, we told people that it would go towards retirement of our debt because of our large mortgage, that would actually help us become more outward focused. We said those two things. We gave them the why. Now, in this resource, if you choose to do it, it's actually fairly reasonable, but they say in that offering, you're hoping for, it's like a baseball metaphor, either a single, a double, a triple, or a home run. And in that we've hit at least a single. Now, what's a single? At least an extra week's offering. And we've gone up to a home run, an extra months at the end of Christmas last year. That's how much came in on this extra offering. It's well worth the couple $100. They give you sample emails and letters. So we tried it, and it's worked. It's helped people, again, respond in giving. Set up a matching program. Find someone in your congregation, you probably know who they are, that is a giver. We approached one of our congregation members and asked if they would like to match for those who are going on Simply Giving or increasing their Simply Giving. Asked if he'd like to match that first month's. You know what he said? No. And I walked away. I'm like, well, that was worth a shot. Had a good conversation and coffee and treats with him. The next week, he pulled me aside in the gathering space and he said, I'd like to take you up on that. So for all of this year, one of our congregation members has said he would match dollar for dollar those who would sign up for Simple Giving or increase it. And now we've been communicating that to people. That has been such an amazing gift. It's been an impetus to help people. You know, I realized that as I had a call from LSS that asked us to be a part of a matching program. I'm like, that's brilliant. Why don't we do that? Well, we should, and we did. And that's been incredible. Our actual Simply Giving has gone up 12% this year because of that. That's been substantial without the match so far. That's awesome. You could also do it for one of these extra offerings. If you're going to have it on the Christmas offering, you say, and a certain, one of our congregation members is going to match a certain amount of that. Just an idea. Give a 3 or 4 month tithe challenge. Trinity has done this. They called it try tithing for 3 or 4 months. I love it. I did it in my last setting, even though I didn't come up with that brilliant title. And we actually had families just try giving at 10%. I've even had colleagues that have actually said they would actually give back refunds if people said it didn't work for them. I haven't done that. I'm just telling you what people have tried. No way, it's ours. Oh, okay. But to help people in their giving and to give them an impetus for doing it, remove that obstacle. People have found, though, that it actually helps them in their relationship with God. That's what we found. I had 16 families in my last setting in Paynesville do that. And it was awesome to watch their faith in the middle of that. Another idea from Trinity, sending personal letters from council and staff to congregation members in their social circles. Writing here, I love my church, here's why I'm giving. I don't know where you're at in your giving, but if you could, this could be amazing if you want to think, here are the reasons I'm doing that. Just a personal letter. I had our council members actually give me 10 names of people. We agreed with this as one of our strategies for this year. And then we compiled the list and we had each of them so there were not redundancies and one family would get 12 different letters. We had each one sent to 5 different families. That was really fun, just the specific personal invitation. Set up giving talks. So you can do this by congregation members. You can have them in person. Now, again, this is not to announce we're behind budget, so we really need you to step it up. No, this is to actually help people and see in their personal way how it's impacted them in their life. So we've done this. I'd love for you to see this is one way we did it. Again, it's real simple through through just a video camera and editing, and we just put that there for people to watch during the offering time. And then we shared it on social media afterwards. This is one of our families.
We have always given to the church for as long as we've been together. And then about 13 years ago, we decided to give our first fruits to the church. And so Bill and I had a conversation, and we decided that we would start giving a certain percentage of our income. And we were really nervous about it because we knew that giving that percent could really affect what we were going to be able to do and not do. But the crazy thing is that the more we've given, the more we've been blessed. And scripturally it says that, but it's really a leap of faith to do it. And I feel like God has really blessed us as we continue to leap forward and giving, more and more to the church, because that is really, God's command to us.
Malachi chapter 3, verse 10 says, "Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house. Test me in this, says the Lord Almighty, and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing there will be not enough room to store it." That's really fitting to our giving situation, since we do give based on biblical ideals.
We do discuss it as a family in front of the kids, because we want the kids to know and to, for us to be an example of, how those conversations, what they look like, and how we decide, how much we're going to increase. And we talk about, what percent it is and that kind of stuff in front of the kids, because we want them to, hopefully one day be giving to their church.
That'll stir in their hearts, and that they'll be givers like we are.
Right. And we also encourage them to give themselves. So when they have money, we encourage them to give to the church to kind of get that started at a young age. Mm-hmm. Right. And we love our church. I mean, I know that, we are involved in a lot of ways. I'm on council, and we do confirmation. We both have been blessed to be on mission trips. Our kids go on mission trips every summer. Sunday school is amazing. So we love worship band. And it what's that?
Vacation Bible School.
Yeah, VBS. And so we really want to support those things, because I really feel like church is a family for our kids just as much as our home is. They feel super welcome and at home, and they love everybody there, and there's just it's just fitting to make sure that our first fruits go there.
It's just encouraging that our contributions can go to help these kids go on mission trips, and to, allow opportunities to kids that they normally wouldn't have. They were, just doing things that they're not normally comfortable with, but there's such a sense of community and family at the church that they feel welcomed, and the monies that we donate help that. So that's encouraging.
Yep.
The thing I think about if people aren't giving is the blessings that they're missing, because you totally will be blessed for sure. I mean, it's a promise. It's a biblical promise, so it's going to happen. It's just a leap of faith to do it. And so if God's moving you, I would encourage you to just take that leap, because it's been super amazing for our marriage and just for our life.
Yep, just give something or give more, and just see where that leads you. It'll be life-changing.
Now, that's one example. We had different congregation members of different ages, different contexts, giving their stories. And we just turned the camera on them and asked them what it was like. So that's just an example to maybe help whet your appetite. Before the offering, give an intro to the offering. Now, I've visited different churches, and I've been sitting there, and once the offering comes, I'm like, "Honey, do you have the checkbook? Because I don't." And she's like, "I know you don't." And we're scrambling to get it, and then the offering plate's there, and then it's gone. Introducing it, giving people time to, in a few moments, we're going to worship God through our gifts of tithes and offerings. And then the next thing we do is we thank them. We thank people for all the ways that they give financially, and their time and their talents, and we remind them of different ways they could give. And then during that time, we also, in our offerings, sometimes we have videos like that. Sometimes we find other fun videos. God Pie is one that I thought of from worshiphousemedia.com. Just a fun one to show, to give them an idea of stewardship and help them. Sometimes it's music that we have, but lots of times on the screens we'll have like the organizations that we support through our offerings, and it just comes across and is there while they're worshiping if music is going on or something. So it's just another reminder of where they go outside of ourselves. Also before that, one of the things we've done is people review us on Facebook. And sometimes they have those really nice things that they've said, or they've sent a card or an email thanking us for something specifically. We share that with people before the offering. This is one way that your offerings make a difference. I want you to hear this, what people said about how this impacted them, and we read it. That's been so powerful and has made it tangible during that time. We thank people sending thank you letters who make a financial gift for the first time. If you have software that's doing that, or if you're of that size that you don't need that and you see this is a new person, you can actually send a thank you letter. I'll give you a sample of what we send as well. Send thank you letters to people who sign up for Simple Giving or through credit card that if you know that they just signed up, thank them. I mean, that's the first thing we're about, right? Thanking people for how they're responding in faith. Quarterly contribution letters. If you put those out quarterly or semi-annually or annually, put the how it impacts people. Put a letter with it. We have one that goes out directly to a company that where the envelopes come out every other month, or quarterly, I'm sorry. I just 6 weeks before write a letter, and it's only costs, I think, an extra 8 cents a letter to include that with a letter just thanking people and helping them know what has happened in this last quarter, what we're looking forward to. That's been pretty phenomenal. Then equip people. Preach about it. That's crazy, right? That this could be something that we actually deviate from. I mean, we go in teaching series, but I know for a lot it's the narrative or the RCL, but this could be a chance for you to actually preach about it, not just saying give more, but you could utilize things like How to Be Rich by Andy Stanley. We took a page from Living Waters, who's done that the last 2 falls. And it's not about just giving more. It's about actually seeing we're blessed. And it's a whole total mindset. It's equipping people financially. And then maybe offering Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University and consider giving a discount to couples you're marrying too, to help them and equip them. What does the Bible talk about with money? People crave that. That's been pretty amazing. Now those are some of those resources, the coaching networks. Now there's the Giving Rocket. That's a yearly one, and that's actually fairly reasonable. But Automate the Important and Christmas Offering. Automate the Important is helping, it gives you tangible resources to help people give digitally consistently. Christmas Offering or Easter Offering are also those ones where it could be an extra one. Those are separate ones that you could just do, and they're again, another way. How to Conduct a Tithe Challenge. Maximize by Nelson Searcy is an amazing resource. It's just a book. We've done probably 1/10 of what that book has. I've made notes, and I'm like, we have so much more we could and should be doing to help people in their giving just from that book alone, and How to Be Rich. So those are some of the ones that I've found fairly helpful. Now we'll open it up for the last 30 seconds. Okay, we actually have a few more minutes. We have about 5 minutes. So if you have questions or want more info on the things I just breezed through, please let me know. Dues.
I would like to hear you say offering.
Sure. Yep. He's saying here contributions and donations in the video, right? Mm-hmm. But you also have the one of dues too. So where were you going with that though? I apologize. Yep. Yep. Right, and every time, actually, as I just said, we say we are now worshiping God with our gifts of tithes and offerings. It's a form of worship. This is actually how we respond to God through our blessings. So, thanks.
Sorry.
Oh, it's all right.
I have a question about envelopes. Do you have a bunch of them printed up at a time, or do you do the printing of the envelope yourself?
We've done both. We've had a company, and I'll put that in the one that I submit just to help you know where we've done it.
Okay.
We also do it in-house. You can buy them. I'll give you the digital file itself that you can customize if you'd like. and do whatever you will with it. But the flap envelopes, we just order through Amazon and print them on our printer. They run right through, and that's saved us money. Yeah, you bet. Up in front here, Casey, for Logan.
The giving kiosk,
Yep.
any iPad do it? It's a 3-year-old iPad. The software you use, does the iOS get outdated where the software used for the giving kiosk, where you need to buy a new iPad after 5 years because that 3rd-gen iPad doesn't support that?
Yep, I would just check if you're with Vanco or whoever that is. Ours is just a year old, so that's a great question for them. I'm not sure of that, so I would just double check to see if that does work. I think it does, but don't hold me to that.
Okay.
It does. Yep.
Two things. With the willing to share the digital file on the envelopes, would you be able to put out some actual physical envelopes?
Yeah, if you.
Or are they already out?
No. If you want, if you can just stop by the church office, Karen or someone will. She has a pile right there.
Okay.
So if you want and just want to grab one, actually Leah's going to grab one for your way out. So if you would like a physical one, have at it.
And then
Don't take 53 of them though, unless you're going to send them back.
What? Okay. What to do before the offering? What to do after the offering?
To thank
At
them?
the
Is that- you're asking at the end of offering time?
Yeah. You got any ideas of anything to help build on to that whole process?
Yep, at the end of offering, I mean, we're really setting up at the beginning to remind people, especially those who are giving through the giving kiosk or through Simple Giving, that they are a part of that. At the end of it, of course, we do a prayer, but I don't know if there's something separate that maybe you're thinking of. So I'd love to have more conversation about that. That'd be great. This will be the last one. Then we'll move to
It
Reverend Hans Dahl.
It seems like you're working really hard to meet new givers. Do you find that it's harder to engage new givers, or do you find that it's harder to encourage the people who are already supporting? Like, what have you learned in that process?
We've had the gift here of just being a growing congregation, and our actually biggest segment is millennials, which is wild. But our giving has actually gone up proportionally as well. It's gone across ages. Actually, it's actually our younger folks and our newer people that it's been much easier for them to be a part of the different options and to respond. In fact, most of the people that are on for signing up for Simple Giving and thing over this last year during the matching program are our new people. So that's been really fun. All right, well, thank you for your time today. I'll turn it over to Pastor Hans.